be a banger. NRG Esports has already taken Envy to 5 games, so let's see how they do against Square One before we get too ahead of ourselves.
Exactly, and NRG now also have Mirror in their lineup, so not just going to be filling in with that Brigida role, but he also has a great pocket Pharah. For Lee down Night Market, though, it's going to be some Ghost shenanigans. Oh, already Stand One getting put under pressure.
Yeah, the utility bubbles have already been utilized on these Reinhardts, and so they're just going to be jostling for position for the time being. The point is unlocked for another 10 seconds, so they've got a little bit of time to think about how they want to go through, but a nice Fire Strike kill on to Big All is going to open things up for NRG Esports. That's exactly the start you want in a situation like this. You get to start out on top, and then hopefully the momentum takes you to the end of the round.
Yeah, while Stand One's shield was being put under a considerable amount of pressure by Square One in that very first engage, then you saw Dove and Jolt getting taken so low that they had to hide behind that corner. The Fire Strike comes in, snipes Big All. Now NRG have a very comfortable hold. Kevster over twice Dove's Grav charge. So this is going to be a pretty nasty fight for Square One if they commit.
So Jolf already dropped down, so he's telling the rest of Square One to come in with him. But if you look at the backline, Hot Date is defending himself against the diva of NRG Esports. So Smeg's causing some disruption. Now we do have the Earth Shatter. It really just looks like Square One had a really hard time deciding where to look and how to actually engage. And we're seeing that right here with NRG Esports coming out on top of this fight. The consistency for Square One that was there at the beginning of the season, at least for the time being, is not quite there for them now.
I would say coming out of Trials, Square One was the GOATS team to beat, but as of right now, after going through an entire season, NRG have certainly leveled up. Ultraviolet used his trance in that last fight, so one of the only tools that Square One had online is now gone. But they will be coming into 5 checks marks, sans that Transcendence, but that means that Kevster might well have a free Grav right here.
When you have Grav with no Transcendence, that's usually bad. They also use the rally to grab something right out.
Yep, sound barrier not going to be anywhere close for Angelic, so Specs finds that 3K. A beautiful play from NRG. I mean, we've all had seen Grab Bomb combos, a billion of them at this point, but still that clean execution means NRG already 80% to their first round win here, starting off really strong.
Smeg's very familiar with those grab combos as well. Coming out with 3 kills with the help of his team, and now it's going to be the last chance for Square One to try to get onto this one. They haven't been able to get close to it. We're seeing the first ultimates coming out of Square One. Right now, the Transcendence is there for NRG Esports. The Byron's going to be able to keep his team alive. There is no Graviton Surge coming the other way, so NRG Esports actually feels very, very good about their position right now. The rally to keep NRG Esports alive during this fight, but Square One needs to make something happen. They're at an ultimate disadvantage, and now they're at a man disadvantage, and we are going to get the pick onto Angelic. So there's a 6v5 for NRG Esports. Now it's 6v4. This is NRG Esports fight to lose. Square One not going to be able to get a single percentage point in at this first round, but anything can change on the next one as NRG does clean this point up.
Yeah, NRG absolutely dominant that entire round. Square One, you're totally right, Boop, just looked a little bit discombobulated. I mean, when the opposing team gets first cap, you have to start thinking very far ahead, right? Hey, if we can't flip this in the next fight or two, we're probably looking at a 99-0 kind of situation. Where are we going to be, like what ultimates are we going to be banking? Which ultimates are we going to use to try and win this fight? And Square One ultimately waffled for so long, they ended up with their backs against the wall. Angelic used the sound barrier just so that, Jolf could maybe see the point, and at that moment, you've already, given up every advantage. So NRG now just have to maintain this momentum into City Center.
Yeah, Square One bubbling opportunity to touch the point. Jolf did drop down early, and then the rest of the team didn't know how to approach the point anymore. And when the breakdown of communication happens like that, it's hard to get back on the same page without resetting and trying to attack once more. And unfortunately for Square One, every attack ultimately ended up in failure, but they're going to try to reverse their fortunes here on Control Center as Jolf and Ultraviolet get taken very low. And right now, NRG just seems to be bullying Square One. The health bars were so low even before a fight really just takes place. And right now, Square One, though, is going to get a return kill on it to Stand One. And what seems like very, very bad news for Square One. It's even worse news is they are going to lose this first point capture. So NRG Esports, just like the last time, they have been undefeated so far here on Control.
Yeah, you saw how much pressure NRG was putting onto Dolph, and poor Reinhardt, he could do nothing except stand there and try and tank it with his right click. Dove was off on a flank trying to put some pressure on NRG, but because he wasn't behind his Reinhardt, he wasn't putting that same damage onto Stand 1's shield. And now NRG, well stocked with ultimates, gonna pop that rally.
And they're going to push him right back into spots where we're going to have to utilize that rally to make it through this choke point. And the NRG Esports are going to let him do that as Treacher does not have grab just yet. We're going to see that until the grab does come out, but Stand 1 is going to go back to spawn, so the grab not coming in on time. Square One going to have an opportunity to get their first percentages here on Lijiang.
And they will do so. That's one of those things. A lot of teams really like to hold close at the choke. When you have the ultimate advantage, it's probably a very safe place to hang out, but NRG weren't willing to invest those ultimates in there. Mirror threw out the rally, and Square One just backed off and let the shielding subside, and then NRG found their Reinhardt out of place.
And so the Graviton Surge up Square One's going to lock them up in at the choke. There's going to be some movement going on within the Graviton Surge, but this new patch of that movement is going to be a little extra for the time of being. NRG Esports, though, gonna fall victim to a self-destruct to Square One, and they're gonna go ahead and seize this opportunity to get back onto the point. But the unfortunate news for them is NRG didn't invest some ultimates in that fight.
Exactly, they used that grab, no trance online either, so Square One not going to make the same mistake that NRG did. They're going to take the safer fight on the objective itself, look for an early pick. Oh, there goes the boop!
Oh, the boop goes through, and that almost was beautiful, but the Earthshatter just doesn't go long enough to make any contact onto NRG, who do find a self-destruct kill onto Angelic, who's almost a hero in that
He's
play.
singing in the heavens now.
I know, now it's a 5v4 for NRG Esports, where we're not technically out of this just yet. The hot day is low. Ultraviolet's gonna meet him back at spawn very, very soon, but Smek's getting denagged, making things a little interesting, but Square One definitely on a disadvantage here. This is just pure stall, and Hot Date actually gets back into the mech, so that's gonna be 5 percentage points for Square One. Does getting a kill, though, means that this is gonna be a 4 for 3 right now for NRG Esports. The kills just aren't coming fast enough. The time to kill for NRG Esports here has given Square One at least 15 to 20% of percentage.
Absolutely, Boop. NRG, I mean, they had every right to win that fight. They just couldn't do it quickly enough. And then Jolf and Hot Day kind of just lumber onto the point, are like, hey guys, you're still holding on to this? We can get another couple percentage points. And now NRG do own this choke once again. Are they going to invest the grab in this? Looks like they might be backing off because Square One have support ultimates plenty to not only counter that grab, but drag this fight on long.
Yeah, that's what they're looking for. Last 6 still holding onto this grab.
And now grab comes in from Dove, but doesn't really find any kind of damage here. Sound barrier in retaliation to Kevster's own grab, self-destruct out as well. That's 3 ultimates, 0 kills, but now the shatter in from Stand 1. Stand 1 shatters 4.
The fourth ultimate is finally the one that ends up in confirming some kills for NRG Esports. The self-destruct is a nice kind of cherry consolation prize for Square One, but NRG definitely in control, and there's not a ton of time for Square One to get back on to this point. Hot Day is waiting to get that overtime touch here, and Square One need to win this fight or else they're going to be looking at a 1-0 disadvantage of this first 2-3. So NRG Esports looking strong. We're going to hit overtime. Square One only with an Earthshatter, not even close to anything else, but at least on the other side, they're not really getting anything right now, so the Earthshatter is going to be coming through, but Square One does not find any kills from it, and Jolf actually going to be the one going back to spawn. NRG Esports do weather the Earthshatter. They're going to be coming back on their ultimates, and they should be locking this up soon.
Yeah, that was so close, but unlucky. The timing from Angelic's group came a little bit too early. Jolf throws down the hammer, but at that point, gravity has already taken its course. Stand 1 falls back down to the earth. The shield protects all of NRG, and Square One's only hope to flip that point and keep things going on Lijiang gone.
And so Square One, in my opinion, getting slightly outclassed there on a Lijiang tower. NRG came in ready for those playoffs. Square One kind of in this position for the first time. NRG, they're an org, they're an academy team. They've been in this situation before. But on the other side, Square One has been in trials. They've been in an open division, and they made it, pretty good here in their group on Contenders, but they've never been in a playoff scenario here. I think that lack of experience shown up just a little bit in those 2 rounds.
I would certainly chalk it up to some experience, maybe a little bit of those playoff jitters, right? Because even if you do win this quarterfinal, your next opponent are going to be Team Envy. So you got to be a little bit nervous. But I think another big part of NRG's success was the pressure, the focus fire that they're putting onto Jolf, right? Even if this Reinhardt's staying alive, if he's a third health, he's not doing his main tank job, which is to take space, right? Absorb damage. So to allow for, the rest of his team to move forward, Jolf was under such constant pressure that Stand One literally didn't have to worry about shielding at all. He could just walk forward and a couple hammer swings would take care of his counterpart.
There were some moments for Square One that were like almost hero plays, right? The one that I'm thinking of is the angelic boop
He did it
launching,
twice,
yeah,
right?
launching the Reinhardt super high in the air. It's like these maps have become trampoline parks for some of these Reinhardts, and that's a great play. The Earthshatter comes through, but the Earthshatter doesn't make real estate, right? And so they have what it takes. And as time goes on, I think Square One might warm up a little bit. Again, it's been over a week since we've last seen these teams
That's
play,
true, yeah.
and so there's got to be maybe some cobwebs in there on those joints, on those fingers. The APM might not be as high as what they're used to, but going into the second round, they got to find it, right? If they play like they did on Control, this is going to be a quick series.
Yeah, even the fights that Square One was winning were very sloppy. It was a little bit more like NRG were caught out of position rather than Square One winning decisive team engagements. Now, as we go into King's Row, again, this is the stomping ground of GOATS comps everywhere. And I'm not sure I don't think we're actually going to see any change from Square One.
Yeah, it's so funny because I remember King's Row used to be, if we're going to see diversity in comps, it's going to be here on King's Row.
Exactly.
Right? When, that was like what feels like an eternity ago with our snipers. But, we can see some diversity, but GOATS does seem to find itself to be the best case scenario for a lot of these teams, especially on Streets phase. And so now that the new patch has, come up and come into play, there are some characters that we're seeing a little bit more of, and we might see them here.
We've already seen quite a few instances of Baptiste and Bastion on in today's playoffs, but NRG on the defense first has Kevster on the Sombra. Really good stuff here. This was actually the first map where Sombra really showed herself in professional play. That was, what was it, Complexity, all the way back in the day. And so now Kevster's job here is just to scout out what Square One are bringing to the table and to look for some of those early key hacks. EMP is going to be an early win condition for NRG. If they have that ultimate up very quickly, they don't have to really worry about having any others.
Well, and this is also really good news for NRG Esports because they have another Zarya player in Mirror that you're not going to see that depletion skill like you see when Zaryas do go on to Sombra. Not here for NRG Esports, as Mirror is a very, very capable Zarya in his own right. And so Square One going to be on the attack this time around. Dub getting taken very low, so the Zarya is going to be out of this fight until the healing gets there. He's going to exert a little bit of dominance, but Byram going to get that first kill onto Angelic, and this is something that NRG Esports needs. It's almost a 1-to-1, and Byram is getting kills. NRG Esports is ahead.
Exactly, and Byram is known as a fragging Zen. We can say that for certain at this point. Angelic, such aggressive positioning for Lucio. We've seen him with those boop setups twice now already in this series, but he has to realize that if he's far ahead of the rest of his team, not only is he in danger of getting taken down by some volleys from Byram, but he's not going to be applying that AoE healing to his tanks. Who, again, well, Hot Date's hacked.
Hot Date is a hack. The Transcendences are coming both ways. There are no grabs for these Transcendences to defend against. NRG Esports going to come up on one of theirs, so their defense might actually feel really good right now. Stand One is low. Kevster getting that pick means that they might be able to hold on to the ultimates that they have until Square One does re-engage, but now that the Brig is down for NRG, it is time to unleash those ultimates. NRG Esports now gonna get that defense. Square One, though, have a good shot at coming back.
Oh, undoubtedly. Rally here is always going to be a good advantage to have in the books, especially now that you know there's no grab on the opposite side, so you don't have to be worrying about that unwilling hug. But Kevster is such a mosquito in the back. Square One can never make just comfortable progress forward because they always have to be worried about the Sombra in the backline. And indeed, Ultraviolet has now swapped onto the Ana, not only to better enable the tanks and apply more healing, but stay safe from Kevster.
And so the rally signifies that Square One are going to be trying to get this objective. NRG Esports going to have to use that sound there. The EMP comes through, and 5 members of Square One are hacked, but Dagon was able to use that rally already, so Square One going to fall victim to Kevster's Sombra, getting a couple kills after that EMP. Good stuff from NRG as they still haven't used the rally from Snex. Square One struggling again to find themselves on this point.
Yeah, Square One, if their GOATS composition isn't working, it's seems very difficult for them to kind of try and figure out
They're
how to
playing scared.
dismantle this NRG puzzle right now. Kevster has had 2 EMPs in 2 fights, which is monster ultimate generation. But now finally, the tide may have tilted. Square One will have both the Nano and the Sound Barrier, a couple other tanks.
There is a Transcendence on the other side that Square One does not have, so Mirror does get the grab. The defense is still looking good. Square One needs to find their real estate hitting of these fights to come and really utilize that composition, but Square One has been unable to do that as they're investing their ultimates in this fight, a losing fight right now with under a minute left. Square One possibly only working with 3 ultimates for their last push.
Really unfortunate stuff. How do you play against a strong Sombra comp? You gotta force her to use that translocate early or just tank that EMP and apply pressure to stand one or mirror. But Square One hasn't really been able to do either of those 2 things, so they walk into these fights soft. There's no real way to engage. They're just hoping, looking for a pick, and now they're down to their last 24 seconds, hanging their hopes off a bomb and a sound barrier.
If you're a Square One fan now, it's time to be nervous. It's their last chance to capture the first point here on King's Rope. The EMP only going to get 2. A membership does get hacked in the end, but the sound barrier is able to go through after the EMP, so you're going to be able to utilize those overshields. The Sky's going to take it very low. This is the opening that Square One needs to capture this point. It's a 6v5 now for Square One. They're getting a tick, probably 2, before NRG Esports does come back and try to get back on it to this point. You're seeing Stand One do it right now. The ally barrier has already been used. They are waiting for the rest of the team to come back. They're running out of time. They decide to cede the spaces. They were never going to get a full 6-man crew onto the objective. Square One do end up taking that point. There's only 2 minutes and 22 seconds left.
Another good EMP by Kevster, but Square One were able to isolate Smex and take him down, finally picking up a kill on their offense. You never really want to be in like a situation where it's 6 1v1s. You always want to try and use your bodies, isolate one of your opponents, and use your superior numbers to take them down quickly. Square One was able to find that finally and will have secured this point A, but only 2 minutes, and they have to go through 5 ultimates.
And so the Graviton Surge is going to be the only one they use right now. It's going to be the only one that they need. Everything else would be a waste. So Square One going to have to try again. And, you know, going back on that last fight, they really needed Kevster to make that EMP super worthwhile. Once the sound barrier comes through, they lose that fight. Now we're here on Streets phase, but Square One going to have to try again. A minute and a half left.
While Ultraviolet is better able to keep Joel, Hot Day, and Dove alive, that means that you don't have that second insurance policy in the Transcendence to save yourselves against these tank ultimates from NRG, and Kevster has yet another EMP.
EMP goes through 2 members hacks for Square One. Are they going to be able to overcome these hacks? It looks like Square One will be able to do just that. The sound barrier is not going to be able to save Kevster. Earthshunter only getting Smex. The armor mitigation is keeping Smex alive as he's getting CC'd out of this world. I'm trying to make things interesting, but this is definitely in the pocket of Square One. They still have trouble as well. NRG Esports smartly seeding this space. They're potentially going to get another defense here on Streets phase, but Square One finally showing some life and momentum.
Yeah, they're going to be able to carry this cart close to point B, but this means that the defensive spawns are going to be closer for NRG. And Ultraviolet hasn't really been able to land a ton of huge nades. We saw the effect of Wolf's anti-nades in just the last quarterfinal. And Square One now, again, without that Nano online, will only have Hot Day self-destruct.
This is going to be tough for NRG Esports. If this Graviton Surge lifts, it needs to make real estate, and it does. 4 members within that unwilling hug, and the rest of the kills come through. There isn't a lot of time for Square One to come back onto the payload. They're going to have to run faster than any Overwatch character has run in their life.
I don't know if they can do it. Angelic has spawned first, but all of NRG are camping this cart. Square One looks like they're going to have to be satisfied with a point and barely 2.
You know, we got to give him some props for grabbing that first point. NRG Esports also patiently ceding that space, almost giving them the point as they weren't going to have 6 members for that fight. But on King's Row, you have to finish the map, in my opinion. When you don't, it's usually in the same exact spot. But we see so much King's Row. These teams play so much King's Row. It's hard, you know, when you don't see them finish the map, that is an inherent disadvantage for that team.
Yeah, King's Row is definitely finishable at this point, in the life of Overwatch. This is really unlucky that Square One, again, you saw so many flashes of brilliance. Hot Date dropping the self-destruct on the walkway and then nudging it down onto the cart, hoping for a kill. It was just unfortunate that by the time the bomb dropped and exploded, Smegs had killed everybody else alive on the side of Square One. So while this team, is still playing quite well, they're playing individually. We need to start to see better allocation of resources. Are we going to try and keep Dove alive this whole time? Well, what about Jolf? Poor Jolf is taking so much damage. He can't really stand against NRG. Maybe we should put some more of that healing, some more of those armor packs on Jolf instead. I mean, it's a really hard thing to say because NRG right now are running a really capable Sombra comp, so you can't be focusing just on the tanks right in front of you. You always got to keep an eye peeled to your backline. So Square One now on the defense have to be weighing all of those options because you lose a member early when you're a defender, it's basically game over.
And the offense has the opportunity to switch off of the comp if they want. Most likely not. The Widow was there to kind of see what Square One was running, so they could decide before coming out of spawn what they wanted to run. NRG Esports is going to be rocking the same thing, but Byram is going to make a little bit of a change. Usually on these like quick first point takes, a nice sleep dart or good grenade can really put the momentum and pace in your side of the equation, and that's exactly what we're going to see. Is Byram going to get that first blood for NRG Esports, get pretty close to that. Nano already post 60%. Square One going to be losing this first point in the first fight, so all of their hopes on King's Row are going to be left streets.
I mean, poor Joel. First of all, again, I suppose you kind of take it as, flattery that you're such an important part of this Square One team that NRG invest everything in order to try and kill you. But once that Reinhardt falls, NRG has no fear just walking forward and demolishing Ultraviolet. And Kevster, forced to translocate. If he stayed a little longer, he might have actually been able to drop this EMP in one go.
If his bullet shot faster, he would have been able to EMP right when he hit the ground. You are correct, HamTornado, and that would have been awesome to see. Alas, translocating the safety is there, but there's no safety when every member of your team is hacked. It's the NRG Esports using one ultimate so far is going to make it past this first choke on a street phase. Square One have one more shot. They got to defend from here on out for 5 minutes.
That was a 6-man EMP. Blind, deaf, dumb, dead. Square One, they don't have any support ultimates either, and that's the really scary thing, because even if Stand One whiffs, even if the rally gets nothing, Mirror will still have grab, and Square One have to contend with that. They're probably going to try and play around this. They need to build up these ultimates, so they can't just take a straight-on fight.
Ultraviolet is getting close to that transcendence. He's unable to get it before this grab comes out. Oh, and that's exactly what we're going to see. No trans to counter the grab, but there have been no kills. Earthshatter, though, going to knock a lot of Square One onto the grab, and this is going to be it for NRG Esports, pretty much walking into this point. Square One not being able to put up an iota of defense for the time being. The Graviton whiffs, but this is the thing about a team like NRG. When someone makes a mistake, when the grab doesn't quite do what you need, that backup is also going to be there. Your bro's going to help you out.
Yeah, I got you, fam. Just so unlucky. Oh man, Ultraviolet was so close to the trance. He was like 2 seconds away. He gets stunned by Brig, and it's like, okay, he's gonna have it in just 2 seconds. Then the Earth Shatter hits, and everybody falls down on the ground, and dies with trance. You can't take it with you, unfortunately.
Hey, and Kevster playing a mean Sombra. We were talking about how Ana already had post 60%, but looking on the other side, Kevster was outpacing the Ana, the Nano, one of the quickest ults that you do get, getting outpaced by the EMP ult charge. And that's just telling you that Kevster isn't just being sneaky. Yeah. Right? He's also peppering in that damage, which is helping the rest of his team confirm some of those kills too.
It means that his positioning is good, right? I mean, part of it is maybe Square One wasn't punishing him that hard, but a big difference between, good Sombras and great Sombras is staying safe while you're doing damage. Because if you're forced to translocate early, then that's, 7 seconds that you're out of the fight and doing literally nothing for your team except passively generating some EMP. So really good stuff from NRG all around. You can tell that they've, taken these new changes on the live patch and adapted their playstyle.
And so we're going to be entering halftime at 2-0 for NRG Esports in this first to 3. So remember, draws don't mean anything. Square One are going to have to pull off the reverse sweep, which we haven't seen yet today. Maybe it's going to be in this game, but we'll never know until we reach halftime. We'll see you in 6.